Good evening, everyone. It's an honor for me to be here to talk a little bit about our agriculture education program and FFA chapter here at Elizabethtown Area High School. I'm usually not one to brag, especially about myself. So just quickly get this whole award thing out of the way. Basically, how that all came about was last year up until the middle of November, community members, students, parents, faculty, etc., could nominate an agriculture teacher for the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau and Nationwide Insurance's Golden Owl Award, which would go to the outstanding ag educator in the state of Pennsylvania. So they do this in several states: California, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Illinois. I think there's another one. The program's just kind of getting started, and this was the first year in Pennsylvania. So people nominated their ag teachers, and there was an online form that they had to fill out. I think they had up to 250 words to describe why they felt their ag teacher was worthy of this award. Then in January, they narrowed it down to 4 finalists, one in each region of Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania, agriculture education-wise and FFA-wise, is divided into 4 regions. You have the northern region, the western, south central, and the eastern region. And in Lancaster County, we're in the eastern region. So the 4 finalists had no idea that they were finalists. I mean, we knew that we were nominated. We got a letter around Christmas time saying that we were nominated for the award. But on the 27th of January, we had a special faculty meeting here at the end of the day. And of course, it was to present me as a finalist. And I, of course, had no idea that this was happening. Some of the administration knew. My teaching partner, Stephen Geib, who teaches agriculture with me, he knew. And he had some of my FFA members, the officer team, and so on, kind of snuck in the back of the faculty meeting. So it was a great surprise for me to just be nominated and, of course, be a finalist. Then in April, as a finalist, we had to submit an application. And it had some pretty difficult questions to answer on there. We had to describe a particular student that changed the way we teach. And we had to describe a situation that maybe had a great impact on our teaching. And I've been teaching this is my 29th year, teaching agriculture. So I had a lot of things I had to sift through and kind of decide which were the most important. And then the second week in June, they were going to announce the overall state winner at the state FFA convention at Penn State. Of course, that ended up going all virtual. And so it was on the 12th of June, I found out that I was the state winner of the first ever Pennsylvania Golden Owl Award for Outstanding Agriculture Educator in the state. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
I could not have done this award, although it went to me. Personally, it is more of a community and a school-wide type of award. I could not do it without the support of my school administration. And even Dr. Balliette, as superintendent, is very supportive of our program. I couldn't do it without great students, and I couldn't do it without my fellow teaching partner, Stephen Geib. Stephen is only in his 4th year here at Elizabethtown. I am actually in my 17th year here at Elizabethtown, 29 all total of teaching. So I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'd like to spend the rest of the time talking mainly about what our program does, what I try to do for these youngsters as we prepare them for careers in the agriculture industry. So I grew up in York County, just north of Dover. I grew up on a small fruit and vegetable farm. It was my grandfather's. My parents owned an acre of land right next to the farm. So I spent most of my childhood through my teenage years working on that farm and learning about how important agriculture is to our society, our economy, to our families. and I was involved in FFA at Dover Area High School. I was lucky enough to serve as state FFA vice president as soon as I graduated from high school. So I took a year off of college to do that. And it was that time while I was serving as a state FFA officer that I decided I wanted to become an agriculture teacher. I thought that was probably the best way for me to share my passion for agriculture and to get other students kind of involved and excited about it, and maybe pursue a career in agriculture as well. So then in 1992, I graduated from Penn State University, and I spent 12 years at Eastern York High School in Wrightsville, just across the Susquehanna River there off of Route 30. And in 2005, I was lucky enough to come here to Elizabethtown.
12 years in York County in Eastern High School.
Yeah, yep, that's right. So Mr. Erickson, some of you may have known Bill Erickson. He was a longtime ag teacher here, and I actually got to know Mr. Erickson when I was a state FFA officer. And so when he was ready to retire, he actually called me over at Eastern York and asked if I was interested in maybe jumping across the river and coming here to Elizabethtown to teach. And I was interested in that, and everything worked out. I was able to be hired, and Mr. Erickson retired in the spring of 2005, and I started in the fall of 2005. And for a while, we had another ag teacher here, but they would only be here for a year or two and kind of rotated around. And then we had a young lady, Sarah Toman, was here for about 7 years. And now we have Stephen Geib here with me. Some of you may know Stephen. He grew up in Mannheim Central School District, and his father, Barry, works for White Oak Mills. And so some of you may know him. I'm glad to have a sort of local person helping me out here and teaching these students and trying to prepare them for a career in agriculture. So what do we really do here in the agriculture program? Every year we have approximately 165 to 170 students take our classes. About 60 to 65 of those become active FFA members, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. I want to talk about the in-school or education part of the program first. But we offer a variety of courses that deal with all aspects of the agriculture industry. And our goal is not necessarily to make these students into production agriculturalists or farmers, although that would be great if we would have some that would go in that direction. And we do have some that come from a strong farming or production agriculture background, and then some continue to pursue that area. But our goal is to kind of make students into good consumers so that they understand how agriculture affects their life. They understand a little bit about what it means when they see different things in the news or they see things on an advertisement. I don't want to get into it a whole lot here tonight, but I want a student to understand when they see that something says it's organic, what does that mean to them? If it says free range or no hormones added, just what does that mean? There's a lot of misconceptions out there on some of those kinds of things. So we're trying to make these students into good, educated consumers. We're trying to provide them with an opportunity to understand what types of career possibilities there are based on their interests. And so we get a lot of students who are interested in animals, or a lot of students who are interested in plants. And then we kind of teach them some of the science, and we kind of guide them in a direction that maybe they can find a career path. We teach courses on general animal science, management and care, veterinary science. Mr. Geib teaches both of those courses. He does an excellent job, has a strong animal background, grew up raising animals himself, particularly pigs. And so he does a great job with that and kind of showing kids the possibility of careers that would be related to the agricultural animal industry. We also teach some agricultural mechanics here, which would deal with welding, electrical wiring, a little bit of plumbing, some masonry, and some small gas engine troubleshooting and repair. We do teach some plant science courses, particularly a greenhouse management and landscaping course. There is a small greenhouse attached to the back of the high school. If you've ever been around the back by the tennis courts, you may have seen our greenhouse. It's not huge, but we get a lot of things done there. Right now we have some poinsettias growing in the greenhouse. Hopefully everything goes well and they turn red as we get a little bit closer to the holidays. In the springtime, we raise some bedding plants. We do some hydroponic lettuce in that greenhouse to show students that type of technology. And we raise geraniums. If you have ever been to an Elizabethtown area high school graduation at LCBC, the geraniums on the front of the stage are the ones that we grow in our greenhouse here. Then we teach some sort of environmental science type courses, wildlife management, and we have an aquatic resources course, which deals mainly with water management, water pollution, water conservation, and we have a 1,200 gallon fish tank system where we raise channel catfish. And so the students get to study a little bit about diet. So we'll feed the fish. Sometimes we'll do a different diet in one tank versus the other, and then we'll compare growth rates. So the students actually get to take the fish out of the tank once a month and weigh and measure them, and we'll chart their growth. And that pretty much sums up kind of what we do with our courses. Oh, we do teach an equine science. I'm sorry, I forgot that. That's offered every other year, and mainly for students who are interested specifically with horses. We don't focus so much on just the fun stuff, but the management. How would you manage having horses from an agricultural production standpoint? So we get into the breeding a little bit. We talk about the marketing of the animal, and then we do get in a little bit to the training if you're going to train a horse. So again, our goal, or my goal since I've come here in 2005, is to make these students good consumers, that they understand what agriculture is, how it touches their life, whether or not they are going to get a career there. But hopefully we also spark some interest where we get some students pursuing some various types of careers. So as I mentioned, we do have some students come from production agriculture backgrounds, and then they'll go back to the family farm. Some of them might go on to college to get a business degree or maybe some animal science, and then they return to the family farm. We also, since 2005, have had quite a few students. I looked the other day, I think it's in the mid-30s, who have gone on to four-year universities to pursue some type of agricultural degree, whether that be plant science. We have a young man who's working for I lost my train of thought. DuPont and Pioneer, doing some plant science-based research. We have some other folks that are into some agricultural business, management, and design type things. So we've sent students in a lot of different directions with our program. Now for our FFA chapter, a student who is enrolled in an agriculture course has the opportunity to join and participate in our FFA chapter. And I think I mentioned to you earlier, out of about 170 students taking our courses, we get about 60 to 65 that become active FFA members every year. We don't force them to become involved. It's something that they kind of choose on their own. But the main goal of that is to kind of follow up with what we teach in the classroom and give them an opportunity to apply those lessons to some real life situations through some competition. Of course, with COVID, all of our competitions in the spring and all of our competitions over the summer and this fall have been pretty much canceled. But we've had students participate in various competitions dealing anywhere from horse evaluation, livestock judging, ag business, and agricultural sales. Just 2 years ago, we had the state-winning agricultural sales team. They got to represent Pennsylvania at the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis. We've had ag marketing teams where they pick a product and they design a marketing plan. In 2013 and in 2016, we had the state winning teams there. So it's all about providing students with an opportunity to get leadership skills, to develop their speaking skills. We've had students do very well in public speaking through the FFA. Had a young lady who placed second at the state competition, Emma Musser. Some of you may know the Musser family. All of those young ladies are very active or have been very active in our agriculture program. Emma placed second in the state public speaking contest and got to go on and represent Pennsylvania at the Big E in Springfield, Massachusetts. So we've kind of tweaked these programs to the point where these students who get involved in an area they're interested in have an opportunity to not just showcase their skills, but travel a little bit as well. And then kind of finish that up with state FFA officers. I mentioned that I was state FFA vice president. That was kind of something that I really wanted to focus on when I got here in 2005. I think it's very important that we get some of our students to get leadership skills beyond our own chapter level. And since 2012, we have had 6 state FFA officers here from Elizabethtown. Currently, on the 2021 state FFA officer team, we have the state chaplain, and that is Emma Musser. So I'm pretty proud of what we've done here at the high school level with teaching our students and providing them opportunities to learn about agriculture, to possibly gain some skills and some interest that they maybe can pursue a career in that general direction if they wish to, and to get them some leadership skills and get them ready to possibly step into an organization like the Rotary. We do have a lot of our students go on and join the Elizabethtown Grange, where they have assumed some leadership positions, but hopefully we can get some of those students involved in your organization as well. And they should be somewhat well-spoken and able to handle themselves in front of groups of people, because that's one of the things that we try to give them the skills for. So I guess if we could, I can open it up to questions. If anybody has questions they want to ask about either the agriculture program, our FFA chapter, or me personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Go ahead. If anyone has any questions, you can unmute and speak up, or you can type it in the chat box as well. We'll grab it there.
I'll start. Sorry, I was having car trouble, so I was on my phone trying to get home. Apparently, you guys couldn't hear me, but I could hear you. So I apologize, but I'll just go over the bio quick. So Mark grew up on a small fruit and vegetable farm, as he said, served as PA State FFA Vice President. In addition to all his work, he is married to Heather, who is a teacher and FFA advisor at Manheim Central. And they have one daughter, Skylar, who is a vet assistant. He has horses, goats, and dwarf rabbits, enjoys camping, hunting, fishing, and attending PSU football games. So thank you, Mark, for joining us, and congratulations on your achievements. And I just want to say, I work part-time every other weekend on a farm/greenhouse, and it is a lot of work, and it is very underappreciated. So after experiencing that this summer, I have a high new respect for farmers. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Excellent.
I was curious. Okay. I was curious about the balance of girls and boys in both those programs at the high school and then with FFA.
I would say in our classes, it's probably about 50-50. I even get quite a few young ladies who take my ag mechanics classes, which I just think is great. I enjoy teaching them. Sometimes it makes me chuckle because a lot of the boys think they can out-weld the girls, and that's not always the case. Sometimes the girls do a lot better than the boys, and I always say it's because they don't have an ego, and so they listen to what I try and teach them, where sometimes the boys think they know as much as I do because they did a little bit of welding or whatever. And so it's a great dynamic. Within our FFA chapter, we have more girls involved than we do boys, probably 60-40.
I just want to make a comment if I can, and that is I had a daughter who went through FFA when we were living in Texas and became the state secretary.
Awesome.
And that was the best experience of her whole high school career. She then went to Texas A&M, and she's now a midwife, but FFA was just great for her.
That's great.
Hey, Mark, I just want to thank you for what you're doing. I sponsored a veterinary scholarship at the high school the last 10 years and have got to meet some of your kids who are really good people and really good students. Austin Kreiser and Elizabeth Buxta are the two that come to mind right now. But they're looking, and Hannah Quarry's the other one. I can't think of her, thought her name too. But really good people, really good kids, and really anxious to get involved with animal science. And you're doing a good job. Thanks.
Right. Thank you.
Mark, this is Wendy. I'm fascinated by everything that you shared tonight. I was not aware of how much we have to offer our students. And I have a freshman in high school, and I can tell you, I had no idea that all of this was out there. So is there anything that, you guys are doing or can do to expand the awareness of this? Because like I said, I don't know if I didn't look at the right places or didn't see the right information, but I'm just amazed at how much there is.
We do hold a course selection night where we sometimes talk a little bit about our things, or we put some information out, and our guidance counselors do a pretty good job of being able to make it aware, but sometimes it does just fall through the cracks. My officer team this year is really trying to increase awareness, since there's not a whole lot of other things that we can do this year because of COVID. So that's something that they're trying to work on. I'm going to make a note here of what you said, and maybe we can come up with some ideas to expand that.
Yeah, that'd be great. I definitely will have a conversation after we're done here with my my daughter to see what she knows. I'd be curious to see if it was something that didn't come down to me or if she's not aware as well.
Okay.
Am I on now, man, Wendy?
I can hear you, Ken.
Okay. I wanted our speaker to know there's another former FFA member. I was president of our chapter down in Quarryville, also on the state FFA band, and very active in FFA.
That's excellent.
I also was a Keystone farmer.
Excellent. Great.
My question's about the connections between Masonic Village and the great agricultural programs that we've had through the years. We have a new farmer now, Scotty, and I just think that the relationship with all the cows and everything else we have over here would be a good connection too.
Yeah, I think so. We've done a few things with Masonic in the past. And I used to send some students to Frank when he was out there that would work on internships. Yep. My wife from Mannheim Central would send some also. But yeah, if we can increase our relationship with Masonic, I would certainly enjoy doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And you're seeing some of those cows behind me at Masonic Village. I grew up in Chippewa County, Wisconsin back in the 50s, and I was an FFA. Those were the days when we had a one-room school and milk cows by hand, and my dad paid off a farm in 15 years with milk money, but we had a lot of other things. So, I've been a 37-year preacher, now retired, and so I've been a preacher. I've been a farm boy at heart, and just one quick story. And in a pastoral evaluation, this senior lady said to me, "Ralph, I want to hear less about your farm stories and more about the Bible." So I thanked her for that, and I've tried to moderate it ever since. But farm stories are always on my mind.
The cows are paying attention to you, Ralph.
See them every day.
We have a screensaver with 5 cows on it. Thanks, guys. Good program.
Anyone else?
If you get a dog training program, I'll send my dog to you.
There you go.
He may have noticed some difficulties with us.
You're doing okay.
It hurt. She bites.
Uh-oh.
All right.
I forgot to say I was in FFA also, and I could talk a long time about that, and just love that. Thank you, Mark, for everything you've shared.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story.
You probably remember the Flinch boss in Eastern York County.
I had all three of the Flinch ball children, yes. Michael, Andrew, and Julie.
Great.
They were my students.
I lived on that street.
Okay.
I think this was before you came. Maybe you were there, but I used to be, in my previous life, a reporter for the Merchandiser, and I really enjoyed, I remember doing your FFA stories, coming out to the high school and doing your stories about some of your projects. It was pretty cool.
Good.
Stop it.
All right, well, Mark, thank you so much for your time and sharing your story. Congratulations again. What a great honor, and certainly well-deserved. And looking forward to having this recorded so we can share with other members as well. And thank you everyone for joining tonight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the meeting.
No.
Thank you for having me, everyone.